You're listening to another great episode of We Speak Dispatch, sponsored by our friends at Watson.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another great episode of We Speak Dispatch. And today, man, we've got a full house full of your favorites. They're here today to actually have a big conversation with our special guest, who's right down there in the box. So that's him right there. But we're all here and we're all ready to go with this thing. Glenna is with us today. Leslie's with us today. John's with us today. Rebecca is going to be with us today. And Jill's with us today. So it's a full house. Everybody's here. So that's kind of great. Now, I'll tell you what, since Rebecca's not usually on with us right now, I'm going to let her kind of introduce herself real quick so we can kind of get to our special guest. So Rebecca, tell our listeners all about you.
My name is Rebecca. I am a communications supervisor at a small agency in LA County. I've been a dispatcher for almost 30 years now, and I'm excited to be here.
Wow. Okay.
We're excited to have you.
Yes, we are. We're very excited to have you. So it's always a great day. We have a full house full of guests out there. And our special guest today, man, as soon as we put this out and said, hey, he's going to be on today, everybody's like, I'll be on too. we'll all be on.
Okay.
He actually left it as a surprise and told nobody.
That's right.
Yeah, they did.
So Ricardo, please tell us a little
plenty
bit
of guesses,
about you and what you got going on right now and all that stuff. So
what was that first part you
Wow.
said?
Wow.
Everybody was talking.
So much going
couldn't hear
on.
you. I know there's a
it
bunch.
just comes down to this. Just you can just say, hey, this is what I've got working now. You want me to ask about the book? I mean, I know you're an author now. Is that how we have introduced you? This is Ricardo Martinez.
No. You had already said my name. I didn't know if you wanted me to go say anything else.
What is happening?
I'm
No, I'd
Ricardo.
like to do hand puppets. Anywho, so
like Periscope it.
do you know how to do Kermit?
Yes.
Right.
Shadow puppet.
I am very happy to be here with you guys again. I always tell people that the first time that I was on with all of you, I had no idea how you do your podcast, how you have it set up or anything. And so I remember I was sending messages to maybe Jill, and I said, so how's this going to go down? She's like, don't worry, you'll be all right. I was like, okay. And then we jump in. It's like, I don't remember who was hosting. So, each one of you takes a turn, right? And then you start out, and then you had a question, and you were like, we're going to randomly choose. And of course, I was one who was first. I was like, oh, hell, this is how it works. There was like no time. I felt like I was in dispatch, and
That's
I was
right.
already right off the bat. I was like,
gotta be quick in this game, man. It's like,
Yeah.
Leslie has always flown by the seat of her pants, so we just take that and we run with it.
That's right. And sometimes the best answers are like that. So
Yes. And we did. I mean, y'all remember when we first started this podcast, and I'm sure, Ricardo, you've got like memories of when you first started, where we said, okay, now here's going to be the script, and we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to look to the left,
Yes.
and then we're going to
Joe would come with notes.
Yeah.
We'd be like, wait, Joe, why do you have notes? Are we supposed to have notes?
Yeah.
And so then we would take notes and never look at them.
Yeah, the first few episodes were not the best of us doing that kind of thing. Although I did hear
It was so much fun.
I did hear a recording of Ricardo filmed me and Leslie in the booth one time doing a thing at a conference, and that was actually pretty damn funny. So I thought, man,
that
that's
was at
pretty
the
cool.
Gaylord, I think.
Was it? I don't remember where it was. It was a long time ago, but I was like,
I think it was National Harbor, like 20 years.
Oh, Navigator. Yeah.
We always have fun. And Ricardo, you're going to be at APCO coming up here shortly, right? So,
Yes, sir. Yes.
and you're going to have your Imagine Listening. Are you doing a presentation over there or not?
I'm not doing jack.
Not even a booth?
No, hold on. I'll say what's going on. So,
Jesus, suddenly it's I quit the business. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm done. See you later. No. Oh, dude. Okay, really quick before we get too deep into this, I have to tell you this story. So not this past April Fool's, but last year, I had put out a graphic and I had said something like that I was leaving 911, and but I had it in the caption saying I was going to do this as an April Fool's joke, but enough people told me don't do it because you're going to make people mad or whatever. So I posted it with everything, that people had said.
Who reads captions?
Exactly.
Nobody.
That's what I was just going to say.
Comment.
Oh my
Nobody reads the
Lord.
comments.
The amount of people in the
I
comments, like I
remember
got,
that.
yeah, right. People were like, what is
They were
going on? I was
pissed.
like, it's a joke. It's a joke. And yeah, people were not happy. Like I got text messages. I
Oh
got
my
smoke
God.
signals,
Are you
burns
okay?
on my arm, you know, and it was bad. Yeah. So I will never do that again.
Wow.
No.
Yeah, don't, because people
It
get
was-
crazy. So
It was funny, but
If you want to see your views and comments go up,
Yeah.
that's how you do it.
that's exactly.
I guess
yeah,
so.
yeah, exactly. But
Back
this
the
year,
algorithm all up.
yeah, in a few weeks at APCO, I will be there. I do not have a booth. I do not have a session.
Wow.
I'm going as an attendee. However, I'm going to be in the Indigital booth. They purchased several books, which is something we're going to talk about as well here in a moment. And I'm going to be in their booth. I'm going to take like 20 minutes to just kind of tell, you know, the background of the book and such. And then like the first 20 that show up, they're giving books away. And then if anybody wants them signed, I'll be there. So I'm going to be doing that both days, but I'll be attending sessions and everything. The funny
wow.
thing is, because I used to work for Indigital, I still know their products. So I told one of the guys there, I told one of my buddies, I said, if you need me to do a demo for the texting stuff, I can hook you up. Because I do all their training videos still. So
yeah, in fact, I
That's
was
what
in
I have going
Indiana, and Indigital was hosting the training up there in Indiana.
mhm.
And so they were talking about their Texty. I can't remember what it's called. Is it called Texty?
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something like that?
yeah. Yep.
And so she goes, "Let me show you how it works." And it was you talking on the thing. I'm like, "That's Ricardo," and she's like,
That's
"I know he does
Ricardo,
all
yeah.
the voiceovers." I'm like, that's
Yep.
Everybody
Yeah.
knows that voice.
That's exactly it.
I do their training videos, I do the voiceovers in several states that they have as customers and
That is
such.
crazy.
I'm the
Wow.
voice of their phone tree.
Really?
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
You know we're gonna call now. You know we're calling.
No kidding.
Yep. So
All right,
you'll
now.
end up hearing me. So like in Michigan, just for example, Calhoun County 911, it's me, not emergency line. You've reached Calhoun County 911. If you need or if you have an emergency, please hang up and call 911 now.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
When I worked at my old
Make it sound
agency,
interesting.
we had our own little voice things.
Yeah.
Didn't they? I mean, they must have wanted you to do more in the future. I mean, are you doing other places? It's like, who are you doing now? It's like, well, that's
So actually
a rhetorical kind of question, but you know,
whoa,
Who are you doing now?
several agencies.
Yeah, real
Who's-
person.
who's zooming who in this place?
Yeah, actually at
Actually-
the Alabama conference last year, someone walked up and they were talking to me. They're like, I've heard your voice before. And I said, oh, and I kind of looked back at my banner at the podcast name, and she goes, no, it's not from the podcast, it's someone else.
Dang.
And it was from the training videos, because Alabama has that software and stuff.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
she goes,
I remember,
you're the
didn't
texty
she,
guy. Yes,
didn't
you were
she
there.
have you call somebody?
Yes, I called
Oh my
someone,
God.
and I also yes,
Yes.
I recorded her greeting. She wanted me
Yes,
to
that was
record her
it.
greeting.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I have video of that somewhere.
Oh my! Wow, that's good
Yeah, it was-
stuff. All
it
right,
was
so hey,
pretty
let's talk
hilarious.
about your book, because it's going to be a bestseller out here, so it's always a nice thing. So tell us a little bit about your book. And
I appreciate it. So this is a long time coming, since 2016 when I launched the I Am 911 movement. What started out as a way to raise awareness for the reclassification issue for 911 professionals quickly turned into peer support. I had people sharing their stories anonymously, and there were just little blurbs on memes that went all over the world, and it exploded, and people had been asking, is it ever going to turn into a book? And I finally did it, and this is it right here. So
there it is.
it's Imagine Listening, and it's called Your Worst Day is Our Everyday. And really quick, a shout out to my brother. So this is a picture that I took a few years ago after an Imagine Listening session, where there was a bunch of people who wrote stories down, and I would always compile them and take a picture just to show, like, these are the amount of people who wrote stories down. And my brother had said, dude, if you ever turn this into a book, that should be your book cover. That should be the first book cover. So
Oh, that's cool.
that's
Look at
what
that.
this
There you go.
is. Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys noticed what he just said. He said, "This is my first book cover."
First
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
Oh,
Got that.
sequels
So-
coming out.
So this is book one of a series of books that are going to come out, that because there are thousands and thousands of stories that have been compiled, and I'm going to make more books
That's
and
cool.
put them out there. The crazy thing that happened though with this book too, as we were talking in the beginning, so one thing really quick, the book has been done for a couple of years. I had the whole layout done, the design, like all of it was done. The bad thing though, and that's really so bad, a lot of the stories that were submitted, the pictures that were used were just from like Google. You know, people took pictures from Google and stuff, and they might have copyrights.
Oh, wow.
So I found I have a there's a bunch of websites that have royalty free pictures, right?
Yeah.
So all the stories remain the same, but the ones that are in here, the images, I locked myself in this room for 4 days straight and redid every single story.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Picture wise, that is not the way it was written,
Oh,
that all stayed the
geez.
same. But here's the even more crazy thing, because I'm such a perfectionist, I blame Dispatch.
Mhm.
But I went through all of these images and found ones that looked as close to the original as possible.
Oh, wow.
Even the font, because I'm a design nerd, and I knew the fonts. So I went and found the fonts and recreated them to the as
Oh my
close
gosh.
as to it, because I wanted to keep the integrity of the originals.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So have you ever heard of Post Secret?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what you're doing reminds me of Post Secret so much. So
Well,
much.
why don't you tell everybody what it
I've-
is? Everybody doesn't know.
Well, it's similar to what Ricardo does. People submit of anonymous postcards,
Mhm.
and he started it. God bless, like 20 years ago or so,
Mhm.
and then
A long time.
slowly
Yeah, late 90s.
Yeah, very much like Ricardo. It took on a thing of its own, where it's now he does conferences, he does keynotes, and he now has I don't even know how many books,
Wow.
but it's
A lot of them. So I actually met Mr. Frank Warren,
Did you
and
really?
I went to one of his workshops.
Wow.
This was
Oh,
just
that's
about
awesome.
this was like 6 months ago.
Oh,
Oh,
recent.
really? Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Did you tell him
was
what you did?
I was emailing with him, and I said, I'm going to be going out to your session in Little Rock in Arkansas, and I would love to meet you and talk to you and stuff. He actually shared some of the stuff that I was doing.
Oh,
Because
wow, that's
I
cool.
went and I met him, I got a book, I got it signed and stuff, and I was talking
Wow.
to him, and I said, this is this project that I started, and I was telling him about it, and he goes, once you've got like a really big following and stuff, you'll really be able to push it out even more. And I kind of chuckled, and I was like, I kind of do have a following. And he goes, what? And so then I explained a little more. Well, there's like a line in back of me. And I
Oh,
said, I'm
God.
sorry, I know I'm taking up time. He's like, no, I want to hear this. So I told him,
Look at them.
yeah,
Wow.
I told him and stuff. And he goes, send me a few of those. He goes, that sounds very interesting. He goes, that sounds great. He goes,
Wow.
I'd love to share it. So he ended up sharing it a couple of weeks after
Ooh.
I had talked to him. So yeah, it was
How
it was
cool
a
is that?
pretty
Wow.
cool thing.
That's
That
neat.
is so cool.
Sheesh.
Wow.
I like that kind of
Talk-
thing.
Good job,
Are you-
Ricardo.
Do you have any
Thanks.
thought of doing an audio book of this thing?
Yes. So I'm not sure when that is going to come out, but I'm basically going to go through the way I've done the Imagine Listening sessions before with the written ones. I will sit in here and I will read them and put them in a podcast episode. So that's basically how that's going to go down. But I'm talking to the publisher what I want to do, and nobody's heard this yet except for now. They're going to hear it here now first. What I want to do is add some bonus audio
Oh.
to share some of those sessions that I've done with a
Mhm.
live audience.
Oh,
That's
wow.
cool.
Wow.
Mhm.
That,
I'm not
yeah.
sure how it's going to happen, but
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's amazing to me. And I know that each one of us that's on this podcast right now, we've all made this comment. And I know, Ricardo, you probably are right there with us, that we had no idea when we walked into the dispatch center for the first time and answered those 911 calls. And if somebody had said, this is where your life's going to end up, we would have said, you're absolutely crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
did you have any idea, even in 2016, that it was going to explode like it has?
No.
Simply no.
Put it
when-
simply.
yeah, no, not at all. Because when I posted that first story, what I thought immediately was, man, something is going to happen. I hope it's something good that happens, because you know, you were starting to see a lot of stuff be in social media, in the news, like a lot of people getting offended with certain things.
Yeah.
And I thought either this is going to be a good offense or a bad offense. It's going to strike a chord somehow. And when I
Yeah.
posted it and asked others to do the same, the notifications on my phone basically stopped from the Facebook app, because there were so many stories that were coming in. And I remember
Oh, yeah.
one was in the car with me. We had left from my in-laws to my mom's house because we were going to hang out there with her for a little while. And my son Logan, he goes, "Dad, what did you do?" I said, I think I struck a chord, bud. I said, I don't know what's going on, and then I looked at my phone. I'm like, notification. I was like, oh my God.
Oh,
What have I
wow.
done?
Well, on that,
Yeah.
you started this in 2016, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the first time you like went to was it at a conference you did this at when you did the thing? So your first time, when you went in there to do it, were you kind of like, this is not going to work with the damn, or were you more like, this is going to be fucking awesome?
Are you talking about the Imagine Listening session?
Yeah. How did you like
Yes.
convince somebody to let you do this at a booth? Like, I want to have people come and do this kind of thing.
So the good thing was that because I was working with In Digital and they found me through the podcast, I was at the Indiana conferences. And they loved the fact that I was doing episodes there with their attendees. And I had spoken there a couple times already. And I told them, I've got this session that I'm working on. It's called Imagine Listening. And I want to get more exposure out there for these stories. And they were like, okay, you know, let's go ahead and try it, you know, go ahead and do it. And it was a packed room. And I remember I was sitting up there. I was sitting up there with my buddy Rob McMullen, and because he was going to help me with it. We were up there in case we needed to run a microphone or whatever. And I remember him looking at me and he's like, dude, how do you think this is going to go? I said, I am nervous as hell right now. I said, I am super sweating. And because I wasn't sure if people were going to want to share stories. And so what ended up happening was when we started, I explained what we were doing, and I said, this is basically like a peer support session. And when I asked for a story, crickets. No one
that's
wanted
what I
to
was
share.
concerned about.
Yeah.
No
Everyone's
one wanted
looking
to
at everybody
share.
else to share.
Yeah, I remember the
Yeah.
last time I saw you and you asked for, and I was looking around like, oh my God, is anybody going to say anything?
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
right.
Was it a
exactly.
crowded room though? Was it packed?
It was standing room.
Oh,
Like even
wow.
even the conference committee and stuff, they were all in there. My bosses were in
No,
there.
Oh my
pressure.
gosh.
No pressure.
Yeah,
Like,
the
don't
state
feel-
And so many people, I'm sure, wanted to share and just were like, no, I'm not going to be the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That's
how am I
exactly
gonna
what it
do
was.
Yeah.
The state 911 board members were in there because they were wondering how this was going to go down.
God,
So
everybody
I'm,
was
I'm sitting in there sweating, and then I said, if any of you would rather write down your story and we'll read it for you, do that. You can either do it out loud
Yeah.
if you want to share. I said, you don't have to share if you don't want to.
Mhm.
And you could just hear paper just ripping because
Oh,
people
wow.
started
I bet.
writing and writing and writing and writing. And then it took one lady to share her story, and then a bunch of people started
yeah.
sharing,
Oh,
and it
that's
was the
awesome.
most emotional shit that was going on. Oops, sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah. No,
Emotional
That's
stuff
okay.
going
Doug
on.
said the F word.
Oh, okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it all the time now. No, so we ended up doing that. It only took that one person, and then we did the funny part, and then when we were done, I look over at Rob. He's like, "Dude," I said, "I know, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You're like,
Yes.
hold on. Yeah.
Like, this is powerful.
You've mentioned a couple times, peer support and counseling and things like that. So how has this, because I think, now it's been 7 years, we say peer support, and it's kind of everybody knows what it is. But I think 2016, it was not nearly as talked about as it is now. So how has that evolved along with what you're doing? And how are those two things together?
I think what also helped with the evolution of Imagine Listening and everything was the fact that I was recording those sessions and putting them out there, and for people to hear all over the place. So then I was getting messages from people saying that they realized that they were not alone,
Yeah.
because that's how they had felt all this time, was that they were alone. Now I will say this here really quick before I go a little bit more into this evolution part. In the intro, there's a part where I say, so let's start with a bang. I want you to imagine each story. Imagine each call, put yourself in that, and imagine listening. The reason I say, let's start off with a bang, is because someone on Twitter was being a troll and being a hater, and was saying that some of the funnier calls we were talking about, the person said, like, directed it to me saying, I hope that I never take a call from you because you don't take these seriously. So before I got a chance to explain dark humor, other people were sending tweeting to her. And one person was a nurse and said, have you ever smelled burnt flesh before? Have you ever done this, or this? If I didn't laugh in my job about certain things or having dark humor, I would probably be crying more than anything else, and I wouldn't make it through this. And that person stopped tweeting. The person who was talking smack stopped tweeting and started to understand. So that let's start out with a bang.
There's the bang thing.
That's to that person.
Wow.
Do you know
awesome.
was?
Let's start
did
out
they
with
have
a
their name
bang.
at least on Twitter, or did they just do it like nobody needs
No, it was some just one of those surnames
like,
or
if you want to
whatever.
say
But
it, stand up. Let's hear your name. Go ahead.
But that's where that part comes from. That's why that's in there, because of that very first incident.
That's
where she
hilarious.
was mocking the dark humor part. So that part I left in there. That remains.
Nice.
That's awesome.
But from that time, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, from that time, more and more resources started coming out. Like, more people started talking, and that's where it was. Because like you were saying, I mean, 2016, there really wasn't a lot of resources even at 2016, and then we start talking about it more and talking about it more, and you start seeing more things. You start seeing more like directors and stuff that are posting on social media saying, this is what we do for our folks. And even some news stories, like a county out of Arizona, I think it was Maricopa, they did a news story on their quiet room. And if you are watching this in dispatch right now, I apologize that I just said the Q word, but
no kidding.
It's off the floor. It's off the floor.
Wow.
But that's what they were doing. Like, and the reason was, they said, the reason we're showing you this is because we want to show you how tough this job is, and that if these 911 professionals get a chance, they're able to go and decompress.
Yeah.
They don't always get that chance. And I remember watching it and thinking, what? Never seen that before.
That's huge.
Wow.
So it's definitely evolved from that time. I mean, it's a huge topic. It'll continue to be.
My old
and
quiet room.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, my old agency had a quiet room. It was behind like 2 doors, and there was just like 4 recliners in there, and it was cool.
Yeah.
We had a quiet room too called your car. Get out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
There was a quiet
Such
room.
a great supervisor, Doug.
There was a quiet room.
Yeah, we actually had one. Like,
they didn't give us that. They said, get your car.
I mean, most
Yeah.
of
You didn't have a trailer?
but
No.
Well, so Ricardo, with you mentioned that this was the first book, and you plan to release more. If people want to reach out to you, is there a format or a way that they can touch base with you and learn more about, number one, where to get the book, how to get the book, how to be a part of the book? Share all that with us.
Of course, yes. So I've got a couple different websites, but I ended up doing what everybody else was doing too. And so I had designed one and put it on my website, and I thought, this is not, I'm going to do what everybody else is doing because it's a lot easier. And it's the whole link in bio thing. So it's Yeah, it's links.co/WTT podcast, but it's links with 2 I's .co/WTT podcast, and all of my information is on there. But for people to send in stories directly, it is IM911stories@gmail.com. And that's where a lot of them have been coming in. I've been posting them as fast as possible, but there have also been stories that have been coming in, or ones that I've had that I have recorded myself reading them, and then I put them out there as either a reel or a TikTok or on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
And holy moly, like the amount of people who have been viewing and sharing not just public safety, but the general public, and commenting saying, I had no idea. And, this is a lot of people saving these videos, and some of them, even my own personal stories. So I've got one that I put out where I said, I look into the camera and say what I'm about to read are, several of my personal IM911 stories. And then I read them and go through them. But when I've done that, I've sat here in this room and just kind of like decompressed a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your own
no
quiet
kidding.
room.
Yes. Yeah.
You need a quiet room right now. So it's we need that kind of thing. Lord.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
one of the things I love about you, Ricardo. You're just so humble. You started out and it just kind of very organically became everything that it is.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever set out to have a podcast, have a book, make t-shirts, do everything that you're doing. It was all just based on the need and organically came to you. And I've just always admired that about you.
Wow.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Everything started from my own struggle, in dispatch, and I never had planned on everything that I do now for a living. Never thought it was going to be like this. It's been an amazing experience, and I love it, and I will continue to do it. It's my passion. But again, all of this started out because I was having issues in dispatch. Nobody was talking. I didn't have someone that I could just talk to. I mean, I would tell my wife some of these stories, and then she's just kind of looking at me. Yeah, and I'm like,
have you thought about fast food?
Right. Yeah. So then I was at what was it? Just a get together with a bunch of officers, and we're sharing funny stories. And I remember after that, my wife ended up like slapping me on my arm, and I said, "Whoa, what? What did I do?" And she goes, "How come you don't tell me those funny stories? Where are the funny stories?" I'm like, I'm trying to get. So I ended up what I ended up doing was I started writing them all down, because nobody wants to look weak, right? And that's what that stigma was. And in some places, the stigma's still there.
Sure, yeah.
So I didn't want to share because I didn't want people to think, oh, Ricardo can't hack it. So instead, I just held it in, which was not the best thing to do.
And that's what most people do.
Right. I thought that I was leaving it at work, like a lot of people say, right? But that's BS, because I come home distant, still got dispatch ear going, and so I stopped caring about what people thought. And I finally opened up and started sharing stories. I started writing it down, and it was therapeutic. And then the podcast came in, and it just all came to it. And it's always been about giving back. And that's what I love.
Well, I'm glad that.
So Ricardo,
your first thing was at that Indiana conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one that they filmed that movie section, right? Remember that movie, that Hotline thing?
That was. Oh my God! So yeah, that was 2013. My very first national conference, and that was in Charlotte. It was in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I only had a few weeks notice that I was actually going there. So I worked a 1P to 1A shift. And I drove straight to Charlotte.
Oh my God.
From Michigan.
Yeah, from Michigan. Yes.
Cool.
And it was horrible.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts. When I got to my hotel, the system was down, so I had no reservation. And it was a section of hotel. It was like a hotel bank. So I was going through each hotel. Nobody had any rooms, or you couldn't check in right away. Yeah. So the last one, I won't say the name of it, but the last place that I went to,
Because it has Motel and
I
Six
know
in the
Sound
name.
Motel.
no, the last part of it is tell. I walked in and there was a disgruntled employee.
Nice.
And she was having an argument with somebody, and she gets off the phone, and she's like, "And what do you want?" And I was like, "Oh," I said, I just want to get a room. I just drove from Michigan, and in a few hours I have to go to the convention center to set up for a conference. I just need to know that I can check in right now because I have to have like a power nap." And she's like, "Baby, you can have whatever you want." I was like, "Oh, snap." I was like, "Well, all right."
Hello.
Never mind.
Well,
And
okay.
she said, "How many keys do you need for the room?" She goes, "I'll keep one. You take one."
Yeah.
Oh, poor Ricardo.
What I
It's
know,
up to your car.
dude. Well, what happened was that somebody was supposed to relieve her, and that person went to a different hotel, and was not coming back to relieve her. So she was
Oh.
pissed. So
I
that's
bet.
why she's like, "You can have whatever you want because I don't care."
I don't care. Yeah.
Do you have a presidential
Penthouse suite.
suite? She's like, "No."
Yeah, no.
Not
But
there.
We have
I
a
crashed
crack meter
out
suite.
for a couple hours, and then I went straight to the convention center,
Wow.
set everything up. I was half awake, but went through it. But yeah, dude, that's where we
Wow.
met.
Yeah.
And that's where they did that documentary. So you and I are part of history. We are cemented in there.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, you know what? I know we kind of went a little long today, but is anybody got any final thoughts or questions for Ricardo? Rebecca, John, Glenna, you guys got anything to add to
Rebecca
this?
had her hand up.
Rebecca.
I just wanted to say that I think the thing that I admire about Ricardo is that sometimes all it takes is that one person to say something.
Mhm.
And I've found that, you know, a lot lately in my life recently, and a lot of things that I think I'm the only one that's going through, you know, both personally and professionally. But all it takes is that one person to stand up and say, "Hey, this is what I'm going through."
Mhm.
And then you're going to find out you're not alone. And, you know, I really, really admire, because even like you said, you know, it came from a place of pain. It came from a place of your own struggle, which can
Mhm.
be easy to be that first person, you know, and I admire that. And I admire people that have that fortitude and that gumption to be vulnerable, because what we go through it's not unique to one person. We all go through
Yeah.
the same type of things. And I admire that.
Very much so, yeah.
Thank you. It's been
John,
an
do you have any final
experience.
thoughts before we say adios to our good friend Ricardo here?
No, I think Rebecca said it very well.
Awesome.
Mhm.
That
All
was
right.
a-
Well,
that was a
hey, you know
good-
what? Really? Okay. Go ahead. Tell.
So we were talking about the burrito story. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
your legacy here. Like we talk about legacy. I think that will always be your legacy when it
It's
comes
so
Yeah,
disturbing, though.
You need to tell the burrito story for those.
I need to hear the burrito story.
My God.
It is your
Rebecca, do you know it?
What a
No,
legacy.
I don't.
Oh, Rebecca doesn't know it. Okay.
Oh,
gosh.
stand by.
All right.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
Get the Lysol.
And I'm off.
Yes.
Where's
So-
that throwing up emoji that we were looking
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you
We're
you
gonna
might.
need it.
You might. Okay, so years ago, obviously, when I was in dispatch, we had we would do 312s in a 4-hour shift. I don't know why they did it that way, but that's how they would do it. And on Wednesday was everyone's 4-hour shift. So this one I was doing was 1A to 5A, and I was heading to work, stopped at a gas station because I was hungry and thirsty, but I was going to need to stay awake, right? Because it's the middle of the night. So I end up getting a 12-ounce energy drink, a Red Bull, and I'm looking for something to eat.
Oh, God.
And I ended up stopping at this little cooler, and I got a gas station burrito. And
just like
the look on her face already, she's like this.
A gas
oh,
bomb
no.
burrito.
Oh no.
It's almost as bad as gas station sushi.
Well, it's
Oh,
there.
I mean, yeah.
It's
It's
the same
unleaded.
concept.
I mean, you can find this not only at gas stations, but you can find it at the grocery store. It's called the Red Bomb. It's the bomb. It's a bomb burrito.
The bomb.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes. So I end up getting it, and I mean, it was enormous. It was a huge one, and I end up getting to work early, and I microwaved the burrito. I thought I was going to be in backup phones, which I wasn't. I ended up being on main phones. So I ended up going, relieving the person, sit down, and I just destroy this burrito. I was like, oh, this is so good, super good. And then I take down the Red Bull, and that was good too. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm fed.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not thirsty anymore. And I'm sitting there waiting for something to happen.
And it did.
Dude,
Not on the phone.
yeah. So then the phone rings, and it's for a BOL or BOLO, depending on wherever you're at in the United States. It's either BOLO or BOL. Either way, be on the lookout. So it's the agency south of us. They've got someone that they're chasing, and they're going to be coming into our county soon. So they wanted us to put something out, and I'm typing, and I'm like, oh, what? What? And so I'm already freaking out because my stomach is talking to me. I'm getting this like bubble gut
Getting ready
going
to
on.
destroy you.
Right. Yeah. So I'm talking to the person. I immediately like start sweating. And I am dying while I'm talking to this person. So I end up sending a message to my partner saying, if I have to get up and run to the bathroom, just take the phone over. Okay. I'm going to put him on hold and we'll go that way. And at this point, I'm like in my head screaming, like, stay together, cheeks. Like, let's do this. Like,
no prairie dogging.
We're a team, right? Yeah, no, there's no way I'm going to trust a fart. No way I'm going to trust a fart. Nothing. No making room. So in my dispatch center, like we've got a bathroom inside the dispatch center, right? And I'm not about to drop heat there. Not with my partners there that could hear me. So and then down the hallway, we've got a locker room and stuff there. So I put them on hold, and I jump up. I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna run down the hall. So
you're making your own bolo,
dude. I know, right? Like I'm running fast enough that it's almost like Roadrunner, like me, like you can see the smoke. Hopefully smoke, right? Not like droplets or anything like that. So I'm just like hauling, right? And I go do my thing, and I come back, and I'm like, all right, I'll take the phone back. So I'm on the phone with them. And the reason this BOL took forever is because the car kept turning around.
I was gonna say,
it was coming towards
it was the
us.
same person. Okay,
right? It's going north, but then they go back south, but they're still close enough that they want to keep me on the phone in case we have anyone closer to them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let's keep going. So I'm on the phone, and then again, it starts hitting. I was like, what?
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
It dropped the bomb on you. So
yes, it's like the Jelly of the Month Club. Yes, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So I'm sitting there, and I don't know, Rebecca, if you've ever tried to hold your gas in or anything, but it travels up and turns into like a back fart, back fart. So right, it's just like burnt, and so I'm sitting over there.
Oh God.
And I'm dying, and it's so sequels, right? So like sequels in movies, usually they're the worst.
Yeah,
right? They're not the greatest. Well, in the shit world, it's the same. I learned. So I end up putting him on hold. I was like, I have to put you on hold just one moment. Put him on hold. Stand up, and when I stand up, my body stands up at the same time. And he's like, "You got to poop, dude?" I was like,
oh God.
And I said, "Hey, it's not a warrant. You don't have to confirm it, okay? But yes, yes, I do."
He said, "Yeah, I can tell."
Yeah. I was like, oh God.
So,
You thought they were silent.
dude, I run again. I run, do my thing, come back. Nobody's on the phone anymore. I was like, oh, awesome. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, the emergency is over. Phone rings, pick it up, same people. I'm like, hell no. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, put the stop sticks down. Do something
Yeah.
because I'm going through my own shit right now. Like, literally.
Literally.
Yeah, going through my own. I have my own emergency on. Just take them out. The tires, that is. The tires. Take the tires out. Arrest the person already. So I'm on the phone and I put them on hold again. And because now my stomach is like, everything is shaking.
You're on the treacle.
And I'm not going to be able to run down the hall. We've now
Oh my
got a trilogy of poo that's going on now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
And I put him on hold and I stand up. I'm like, I'm not going to make it down the hallway. I'm going to go right here. And they're looking at me. I was like, no, not right here. Not at my console.
Right.
But the one.
Yeah, the bathroom that's inside here.
Oh my God.
So I go into the bathroom, shut the door. I turn the fans on and I turn the water on to try to mask, the war I'm about to go into. Because like Dumb and Dumber, if you've seen that,
Oh
Oh,
yes.
like I'm in there screaming. Like, it burns. God help me.
oh my God.
So I do my thing and I come out and my coworkers, like all of you, are just laughing at me. And I was a supervisor on duty, and I remember I yelled at them and I said, you know what? I said, you guys are making fun of me. I'm gonna turn the heat up so that you can smell it.
Oh God.
So here's the kicker. If that wasn't enough, years later, I'm out of dispatch now, right? I'm not in dispatch anymore. Years later, I'm on a family vacation. We're driving from Indiana to Washington State, and we stop in Montana. And we stop at a gas station in Montana. I'm walking through looking for stuff, and I get like this weird twitch. I was like, what was that? What the hell was that?
Your body's all long.
When I turn around, there is a cooler with Red Bomb burritos next to a display case of Red Bull. And I remember thinking, screw you, Montana.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
That's my burrito
but you
story.
ended up buying them all. So that was really the weirdest part.
Yeah, he now owns the company.
I took stock
Those are
out and
conference
everything.
handouts.
We've got stock options going in there. It's a whole
So,
thing now. So wow.
You mentioned conference handouts. I don't hand them out. However,
Oh, God.
because I've told the story so many times when I'm at different conferences,
Yeah.
I shit you not. And it's funny that I said that just like that.
Yeah.
But people, when they see the red bombs at gas stations, they will take
Yeah.
pictures and
Oh
send
my
them to
God.
me through
Oh
Facebook.
yeah, I'm surprised they don't buy them for you and bring them to
Hashtag
you.
Red Bomb. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
You
hilarious.
should put up a decal and give it out at conferences when you tell the story.
I should. Oh, that's a good
Yes.
idea, dude.
Hashtag
You
Red
just
Bomb.
add that to the shirts. It's like
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah, like with
I-
like a splatter pattern on the back.
Oh my God.
Oh
Oh my God.
And
Brown-
right in
a
the
brown
middle it
one.
says,
Yeah.
I survived the red bomb.
Redbomb.com.
Yes.
It's just
I
like
am
I
the
survived the
bomb.
red bomb almost.
Hashtag I am the bomb.
Yeah.
I am the bomb.
Oh yeah.
that's sick.
I survived
Oh.
ish.
Wow,
Survived the red
what a
bomb.
way to end this episode. Thanks a lot for
Yeah.
that story. Can't get that out
You're
of that
welcome.
visual image, man.
It's the visual image we started with.
Well, that's true. That is very true.
Oh.
It does do that.
Done.
All
That was
right.
awesome.
Well, let me just tell you that Joe just gave us the stats for today. We're at 25,000 download plays, and in over 40 countries we're played. So it's really it's a surprise to all of us. So we're very thankful for everybody listening and sharing it with your friends and telling everybody about it. And if you're going to be at APCO, we're going to be with our Showalter and Company and We Speak Dispatch booth together. So you can come by and pick up some good tchotchke. We got some stuff going on out there. So, all right. Other than that, I definitely appreciate everybody stopping by today. Thank you, Ricardo. Everybody go out and buy his
Thank
book.
you.
It's going to be a good one.
Thank you,
Rebecca, thanks for
Ricardo.
joining us today.
Thanks for
Everybody
having
go
me.
out and make it a great
Rebecca.
day.
And take
All right.
pictures
You
of the
guys.
Yes.
bomb.
Bye.
The bomb. Bye.
Thank you for listening to We Speak Dispatch, sponsored by your friends at Watson Consoles.